All right, shalom, 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 shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Giving double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Peace and salutations to the Akim, the brethren out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth in 100% sincerity. And peace and salutations to the few and sincere sisters who believe in this gospel. So I want to entitle this lesson Perfect Example of Why Eve Won't Make It, right? And when I say Eve, we're really talking about so-called black woman, but that does also include the Hispanic woman, right? And the Northern Kingdom woman, right? But we really reference the so-called black woman because the Southern, I mean, not the Southern, but the Northern Kingdom woman, they follow after the so-called black woman, right? Primarily the Judite woman. And I got a couple of clips here of this chick who is saying these girls just get on they get on social media and talk, and they try and come up with these talking points about men and what men think of certain dynamics. And really they're just expressing their disdain and anger for why they have been unsuccessful in securing the man that they want to be with, right? But let's go ahead and look at this chick, hear what she's saying. Let me because
Nature Boy is
in this video she's talking about
Nature Boy is exact.
come on, man, fuck. In this video she's talking about submission, right? Now, she used Nature Boy as a reference, as you just saw right there. She used Nature Boy as a reference, right? That's the worst reference you can use as far as submission. That fucking degenerate ass nigga, you know what I'm saying? I think he in jail now or some shit like that. But yeah, you gonna use his dumb ass as a reference on why women shouldn't submit. But anyway, let's look at the video.
Nature Boy is exactly why I don't want to hear nothing about submission. When I was younger, I used to feel like that's such a stupid thing. And then I was convinced that, oh no, it means something different. And it's mutual submission. And I'm like, now at about to be 38 years old, please shut the fuck up with all of that. Stop talking to me about all of that. I don't want to hear about none of that shit. I am not a second class citizen. I am not a second class human. I will not be submitting. I will be in cooperation, but I will not be submitting. And I don't think any woman needs to continue on this earth in this life going through that type of bullshit in her mind, thinking that she's supposed to be submitting to somebody. It's really just a light version of the cult type mindset that you need to be looking for somebody to save you all the damn time. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, one of the main reasons why so many young women are easily pliable and easily swayed into cults and all of that shit is because y'all teach them to be wives. Y'all don't want to deal with that. But raising young girls to be wives means raising them to be prepared to give their life over to somebody else. I never understood why y'all couldn't raise little girls to just be grown adult human beings. And if they become a wife, great. But no, you want to put emphasis on it as if it's the only way for a woman to be. And what that does is create the mentality that that's all these young women should be out here looking for. They can't find their life no other way, right? You don't want to, find nothing else to do with yourself besides looking for a man, trying to find a man, looking for a leader, somebody to submit to. And ain't none of these niggas was smarter than you in school, but your dumb ass talking about following them somewhere. Listen, I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all gonna do. But I'm telling y'all right now, this reinforces my mindset even more. No, get away from me with all that dumb ass shit. Nature Boy is exactly.
All right, so you hear what she said? She said that now she talking about a motherfucker being smart, right? But her dumb ass just said she won't submit, but she'll be in cooperation. Do you know that still a dynamic where that requires a leader and a follower? And if you have a leader and a follower, somebody has to submit, dumbass. But she's really just expressing her anger, and she's really just expressing the disdain that she has for men, right? Because she used the example of Nature Boy, right? In the beginning of the video. That's the worst example you could possibly use. But she used the example of Nature Boy, and she's just basically going on about how she thinks being submissive makes you a second class citizen, right? It's a light cult type of thing. All this dumb shit. All this shit that just shows you that you're just this is the reason why you're unhappy and you can't get a man. You're 38 years old and all the fuck you do is talk. You don't know how to shut your ass up. You don't know how to be quiet, right? So you want to be in cooperation. That means you still got to submit, dummy. Right? You still have to submit. Somebody still has to submit. That's what cooperation is. Yeah, it's working together, but what are you working together with? There has to be a plan. There has to be a direction. Somebody has to be going somewhere, and somebody has to be, and the person cooperating has to be following wherever the other person is going. So you still got to submit. So really, when these women get on here and spew some bullshit like this because they can't stand a particular word, is really because they've just failed to secure the man that they really want. Right? A lot of women are. That's why you see a lot of women getting on here talking about some men just like women physically and sexually, but they're emotionally attached to their homeboys and shit. And it's like, ain't nobody emotionally attached to our homeboys. The thing is that a lot of y'all are not likable outside of sex. A lot of y'all are just not likable outside of sex. You think that your personality is bomb because you got bitches on here hyping you up. You know what I'm saying? Hyping you up on social media, saying this, and that. But then the man is looking at you. The man is looking at you like, yeah, you got a cute face. You got titties. You got ass. But you're fucking annoying. I can't stand to spend 10 minutes outside the bedroom with you. And it ain't nothing wrong with the man when it comes to that. A lot of that comes from you women. You don't know how to deal with a man. You want to impose these things that you think that a man should be doing, or impose these ideologies of how you think a man should be moving, and it's not reality. It's not reality. That's like a man is walking around here saying that women shouldn't be emotional. There's not fucking reality. But anyway, before I ramble on too long, let's get into the scriptures. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 3, right? And it reads, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, right? See, nature, right? The Lord put certain things in place in nature, right, for particular checks and balances, especially in human nature. Now, there are things in human nature that the Lord requires us to regulate and control. But when it comes to the dynamic of men and women, the the natural thing is for men to be dominant leaders and for women to be submissive followers. Because as you see, because all of these women get on social media and they talk about men or women are really the leaders of men. But then here it is. The only reason that you're able to get on social media and talk this shit is because men have given you the platform of social media to be able to do it. Because if y'all were really the leaders, y'all would be the ones creating social media. Y'all would be the ones creating the infrastructures of society. And with the infrastructures of society, the basics things that we need, comes the luxuries of things like social media that you have to be able to say whatever the fuck you want to say. The only reason you're able to get on a platform and say whatever the fuck you want to say is because a man created a platform for you and allowed you to do it. Verse 2, it says, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorning, let it not be the outward adorning of plaiting the hair and of wearing of gold or of putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of the Most High of great price. For after this manner in the old time the holy women also, who trusted in the Most High, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well and are not afraid with any amazement, right? The ancient women, right, the women of old, they understood this dynamic. They understood the dynamic of women and men, right? Men being the leaders and women being the followers, right? And it's not to say that women are not important. Women are of importance. Women are very important, right? But we all have a role. We all have a part to play in this thing. We're different. We're not equal. See, the thing is, the issue is that women too many times want to be equal to men. You want to be able to do what men do, but then you don't want to be able to do what men do. Salaki. You want to be able to do what men do, but then you don't want to do what men do. Right? You want to be able to dictate and control what men do, but you don't want to have the responsibility. Right? You don't want to have the responsibility and be tasked with being a true leader, right? Being a true leader where your leadership benefits both parties. See, when women are leading men, women only give a fuck about themselves. When men are leading women, we have to think about us first. Yes, us first and foremost, but we also have to think about what benefit does the other person get out of the situation. Men are the ones who think about value and trade-offs. Women don't think about that shit. Women only think about gimme, gimme, gimme. What can I get? How's this gonna serve me? On the other hand, men, we think about, all right, how is this gonna serve me? But all right, is it worth it for this other person too? Right? A motherfucker who got some type of sense and some type of morality to themselves, yeah. Yeah, not these little you know what I'm saying, bugaboo niggas who y'all like fucking with, but then want to complain about and say that, oh, these niggas is fucked up. Nah, bitch, the one who you chose to be with, yeah, that nigga who don't give a fuck about you and used and abused you, yeah, he's not everybody. He's not all of us. So don't group us in with your bad choices. Right? Let's go to the next scripture. Uh damn. I think this was in yeah. Here it is, Ephesians. All right. Yeah, this is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 22. It says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Yahushua is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Yahushua Hamashiach the anointed, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything, not in some things, everything. And it's not to say that we're supposed to abuse our wives in terms of, you know, not considering what she can get out of the situation. Because what? What does it say next? It says, husbands, love your wives, even as Yahweh Shah also loved the church and gave himself for it, right? Because what? Just as we're going to receive a reward for submitting and following our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, you're supposed to reward your women for submitting unto you. She's supposed to get benefits, right? Now, submission, see, what women are referencing, again, because women, number one, women make bad decisions when it comes to choosing men. Women don't know how to choose men, right? Women, they will choose the wrong guy and submit to the wrong type of man who, you know, he really don't know how to lead, and he don't understand the concept of exchange of value. So a lot of these type of men that these women choose, they just receive, take, and the woman is following blindly behind them. And when she finally realizes, like, damn, all this pain and all this shit I'm going through and I ain't getting nothing out of it, these niggas ain't shit. And she generalizes it. All these niggas ain't shit. No, you just chose the wrong nigga. You just chose the wrong motherfucker. You chose the wrong leader. You chose the wrong person to lead you. Because when women choose men, they solely go off of how they feel. Right? Now, if she isn't scorned as she gets older, and we're talking about in this society, right? As she gets older, now she begins to be a little bit more discerning. Like, yeah, all right, I like his style, I like his swag. All right, but what this nigga character like? Yeah, they don't think about that when they're younger, right? And a lot of them don't take accountability. Like this chick, most likely she's been scorned, and she just hasn't taken accountability for her choices. So she just wants to blame all the men, right? But a true man, you're supposed to reward your woman for submitting to you, right? For following your lead consistently. I ain't talking about, all right, you just met her and she came through on a date and now you want to give her the world. No, I'm talking about you've been messing with this woman for months to years, and she's shown that she's riding for you. She down for you. All right, go ahead. It's cool to take her on that trip. It's cool to get her some whatever gift she might have been asking for. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you got the resources to do that. You know? I'm not saying just go all out, spend all your money on the broad, but hey, if she been down for you consistently, not giving you no problems for a good period of time, hey man, go ahead and treat her a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? There's nothing wrong with that at all. Oh, let's go into this second video of this chick talking some dumb shit.
Body count is about purity. Purity is about sexual control, shaming, and guilt applied to women and their sexuality, which has been being pushed since y'all started worshiping the phallus. I wish people would read books so that they would understand. If you want a grown woman to be pure and have a small number of sexual experiences, you want her to be replicating that life of a child, someone who has not had any bodies. The closer she is to being pure, that's the closer she is to being a child. Why would y'all want that out of grown women? Because y'all don't understand how the social norms are basically pedophilic. They are. They're pedophilic. If y'all would read some books about gender studies, I don't know, history, maybe a tinge, I don't know, some of you niggas would understand this, but you don't. Like I said, get your STD panels, have discernment, and live your fucking life. Body count does not matter. Purity is an illusion, and we are human beings. Grow the fuck up. Bye.
So she wants to equate women not fucking around with a lot of men as to be men wanting a child. You see how dumb this shit sounds? You see how dumb this shit sounds? See, men who you deal with women, right? We understand that in this society. See, you motherfucking a lot of these women who be out here sleeping around with this man, that man, right? She got all type of, you know what I'm saying? She been had all these types of sexual experience and everything like that. This bitch still act like a fucking kid. Her emotional maturity is low as fuck. Is that of a fucking 15-year-old. You tell a bitch no, and she like, how the fuck you gonna tell me no? Why she wanna whine and cry and shit? Wanna guilt trip you? Wanna shame you for telling the bitch no? Not doing what she want. But then you wanna say a woman who hasn't had a lot of sexual experiences, she's closer to a child? Like that makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. Right? Again, another woman who has failed to secure the man that she wants. And these women, they come up with these talking points to really try and shame you for what you want as a man. Right? They try and shame you for what you want as a man. See, the issue is, and I heard there's a couple of dating coaches that I listen to, right? It's a guy named Mr. Lucario Miles Cunningham. I was listening to their they had a show this past Friday. Now they not body count guys, or they not guys who believe that a woman's body count matters, but they did say something that kind of, it kind of made sense to me, right? They said it's not really about the body count, but it's about the experiences of women dealing with a large number of men who don't like them outside of sex. And you got to think about what kind of shit that does to a woman's mind. Here it is, because you got to think, women need people to like them outside of sex. It's a survival thing for them. It's a survival thing for them. They need people to like them outside of sex. They need people, especially men. They need men to want to engage and interact with them and be around them outside of sex, because what does that mean? That means that you're more likely to have protection. You're more likely to gain resources so that you can survive, so that you can get through life a little bit easier and not have to do this shit on your own, right? But when you have a number of women who get fucked and thrown to the side, fucked, thrown to the side, fucked, thrown to the side, right? That's playing on her mind. Is like, damn, I'm not worth shit. That's what they be thinking. That's what goes through their mind when they're not able to get a man, especially a man who they want, to stick around longer than something casual. That fucks with them. So then they get online saying shit like this, right? But let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 25. No, 26. Let's look at 22, right? It says, and harlot shall be accounted as spittle, right? But a married woman is a tower against death to her husband. That's showing the value of a hoe, right? A dick jumper, and the value of a woman who is married and is being submissive to her husband. That's showing you the value of those two. A hoe, a dick jumper, who just want to run outside and do whatever and do what she pleases. Nobody really values her like that. Men don't really value her like that outside of what she can do in the bedroom. Because a lot of these dick jumpers, they sound just like this chick on the video. It's like, what kind of strong masculine man who values his peace wants to be with a woman who talks like this? See, the main thing is that, because you got a lot of these women going online talking about men want slaves, being in a marriage is slavery. Men want a woman that's um, um, dumb, that's not going to confront them and challenge them. No, we don't want that shit. Because a lot of times when y'all do that, number one, it's out of emotion. It's out of emotion. It's just something that you feel, and it's not, and a lot of the times it's not really happening. Now, if you have a valid point, okay, we can hear that. We can listen to it, and we can talk about the situation. But a lot of times, you women come through the situation and you have your own agenda or ideology or your own thoughts about what this man is doing, and you might not like it. And now you want him to change it for you. You want him to do what you want him to do. And it don't work like that. And when he tells you, no, I'm not doing it that way, I'm doing it this way, now he can't handle a strong, now he can't handle a strong woman. He don't want no woman that's got her own mind. He don't want no woman he can't handle a real woman and all this dumb shit. No, you just can't handle a man who ain't controlled by pussy. You can't handle a man who ain't letting your beauty cause him to stumble. Right? Verse 24, a dishonest woman contemneth shame, but an honest woman will reverence her husband. Right? That's where you get this saying, when it talks about a man marrying a woman, it talks about you got to make an honest woman out of her. Right? Because what does that mean? Women don't have morals, and women don't have ways that they do things outside of the way that a man does it. Which really means that women don't really have an identity outside of a man. That's why they go on these social media things talking about decentering men. You know what I'm saying? Women don't really have an identity outside of the man that they're with. And that's not a bad thing either. But when you don't understand your role in nature, then you try and fight that shit. And then that's when you have problems. But that's what it means when they say, you got to make an honest woman out of her. Meaning, you got to put her, when you marry her, you're putting her under your leadership, under your structure, under your guidance. Now she's going to begin to move in alignment with you, because a man is supposed to have the moral compass. A man is supposed to have a plan for his life. A man is supposed to move in certain ways through the world, through life, through society, that is not only good for him and for his life, but can also be good for others, can also be an aid and a benefit to others. Women don't necessarily move like that on their own. That structure has to be placed into her life. And who is it going to be placed by? See, the two things. And both of them are, both of them come from men. It's either going to come from a man that is placing those things directly into her life, or it's going to be placed indirectly into her by the society that she lives in. And we live in a society that does not teach morality. We live in a society that does not teach structure, that does not teach what is right. Definitely not according to the scriptures. Verse 26, it says, a woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all. But she that dishonoreth her, but she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all. A loud crying woman and the scold shall be sought out to drive away the enemies, right? Now this is verse 8. It says, a drunken woman and a gatherer abroad causeth great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. The whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids, right? That's why you got these women outside. It's summertime, so you got women, coming outside in regular functions, damn near naked, ass out. They wearing these like little fishnet shirts or little fishnet outfits or whatever. And sometimes they'll put pasties on the breasts. Sometimes they won't. I've seen women who wear them fishnet outfits with no bra and come outside with nothing covering them things up, walking around in public. Kids around, old folks around, all this shit. Ass cheeks out. And they just let them do it. They just let them do it right here in St. Louis. And St. Louis is not one of these cities where nudity is a thing. But do these women who do that get charged with public indecency? No. But if you was to walk as a man, if you was to walk around with your left testicle hanging out, your ass would be put in jail. So this is what I'm talking about. We live in a society where women can basically run around and do whatever the fuck they want. And it's going to be treated as, oh, she's just a girl. Girls just want to have fun. No, man, they need to be put under order. They need to be put in order, put under structure. Right? Verse 9 or verse 10. If thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. Watch over an impudent eye, and marvel not if she trespass against thee. She will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he hath found a fountain, and drink of every water near her. By every hedge will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow, right? That's kind of that's really what women do nowadays, man. Any man that they find sexually appealing, she ready to bust it up. She ready to bust it wide open. If the circumstances is coming down if the circumstances is right, you know what I'm saying? Hey, she giving it up. She just giving it out, right? But look, man, this is the point has been made. This is what I wanted to go into. Lord willing, this video lesson was edifying. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Hakwadash. Until next time.